Good Monday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Here are a few of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. A suspected impaired driver caused a two-car accident Saturday afternoon on Highway 97, 11 miles north of Orondo. We will tell you who the winners are from the Apple Blossom Technoplex Youth Parade on Saturday. And get ready for another round of heat beginning tomorrow with cooler, wetter weather coming our way later this week. A fire that began in a fifth-wheel trailer Sunday night spread to a nearby duplex. The fire broke out about 9:30 p.m. in the parked trailer in the 1300 block of Clement Circle in East Wenatchee with a family of 4 inside. All occupants were able to escape with minor injuries. Residents of the nearby duplex were also unharmed, but their structure received some smoke damage. The trailer itself was a total loss. The family displaced from the burnt trailer was offered shelter through the Red Cross. A two-car accident late Sunday afternoon in Cashmere hospitalized a local man after he was ejected from the Jeep he was driving. The Washington State Patrol says at 6:30 p.m., a 1976 Jeep driven by 52-year-old Brian D. Chenette of Cashmere ran a red light while crossing the intersection of Division Street and Highway 2. The Jeep was struck by a westbound 2022 Tesla being driven by 43-year-old Jiping Zhang of Bothell. Chenette, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was tossed from the Jeep and was transported to Central Washington Hospital with undisclosed injuries. None of the 4 occupants of the Tesla were injured. The State Patrol believes that drugs or alcohol may have been a factor. Meanwhile, a suspected impaired driver caused a two-car accident Saturday afternoon on Highway 97, 11 miles north of Orondo. According to the Washington State Patrol, 29-year-old Adrian Tiburcio Lopez was driving a 1994 Ford Ranger pickup northbound about 4:45 when he attempted to turn left onto Sun Cove Road and failed to yield to a southbound 1995 Subaru Legacy, which was being driven by 36-year-old Antonio Villa. The Subaru struck the Ranger on the passenger side. A passenger in that Subaru, 26-year-old Noberto Ninovilla, was transported to Central Washington Hospital with unknown injuries. An unidentified passenger in the pickup fled the scene on foot, and his whereabouts were unknown as of today. Tiburcio Lopez faces charges of DUI and failing to yield. Governor Jay Inslee is ready to pass the torch. He announced this morning that he will not seek a 4th term. Inslee, who was first elected in 2012, is the second Washington state governor to serve 3 consecutive terms. Inslee was most recently reelected in 2020. In his statement, he said he intends to, quote, intensely focus on all we can accomplish in the next year and a half. When we come back, Representative Kim Schreier's Advanced Local Emergency Response Telecommunications Parity Act, or ALERT, passed the U.S. House on Wednesday. The Chelan Douglas Land Trust has acquired 20 acres on Saddle Rock for preservation. Douglas County Fire District 1 and the North Central Washington Fairgrounds played host to a live fire training session for agencies around the valley. And dozens of floats and marching ensembles made their way down Wenatchee streets on Saturday as part of the Apple Blossom Technoplex Youth Parade. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. The 8th District's Democratic Congresswoman successfully steered legislation through the Republican-controlled House last week. Kim Schreier's Advanced Local Emergency Response Telecommunications Parity Act, or ALERT, passed the House on Wednesday by a vote of 422 to 1. The bill directs the FCC to begin a process to allow satellites to provide phone service in emergency situations. Schreier says once in place, the system should improve the care that rural Washingtonians receive in crucial situations like medical emergencies and natural disasters. The Chelan Douglas Land Trust has acquired 20 acres on Saddle Rock for preservation. The nonprofit had been interested in buying a parcel on the northeast side of Saddle Rock for over 8 years, and in late 2022, the family who owned the land reached out to the Land Trust to close on the purchase last month. The property connects trails through rich mule deer habitat, expanding the Saddle Rock natural area. With fundraising help from the community, the purchase was made a reality. Executive Director Eunice Yeoman says the financial support to protect the land is a, quote, testament to our community's love of the Foothills Trail System. Douglas County Fire District 1 and the North Central Washington Fairgrounds played host to a live fire training sessions for agencies around the valley. The training served double duty, disposing of the Waterville Fairgrounds aging stable and barn complex and giving multiple fire departments a chance to train in live conditions. More than 40 personnel from 5 fire districts joined in the session. The practice was also recorded by aerial drone for classroom training purposes. The fairgrounds plans to replace the barn and stables with the new structure later this spring. Dozens of floats and marching ensembles made their way down Wenatchee streets on Saturday as part of the Apple Blossom Technoplex Youth Parade. Afterwards, festival organizers announced the winners of the annual parade awards, which included civic group Parque Padrinos taking home the Grand Sweepstakes Award, plus Columbia Elementary for best presentation by an elementary school. Brave Warrior Project founder Erica Moshi was the Youth Parade Grand Marshal, and her nonprofit organization was named Best Small Group Entry. NCWLIFE was there for a live broadcast from the parade route, and you can find our coverage on our website at ncwlife.com, along with a full list of all the winners. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, the Trust for Public Land has recognized co-founder of Parque Padrinos, Teresa Bendito, as a community impact hero. And in weather, get ready for another round of heat beginning tomorrow with cooler, wetter weather coming our way later this week. I'll have all those details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. That and much more still to come tonight. Please stay with us. Parque Padrinos has been a force for good in Wenatchee ever since 2018, when the nonprofit group spearheaded the redevelopment of Kiwanis Methow Park. Earlier this month, the Trust for Public Land recognized co-founder Teresa Bendito as a community impact hero. Last week at Methow Park, she spoke with NCWLIFE's Jefferson Robbins about Parque Padrinos and its projects.
Parque Padrinos means park godparents, and godparents is are people who are they become family, really, and they are typically joined, like you ask someone to be a godparent in big life events like a quinceañera, a wedding, and so in that sense, the godparents is, but now of this park. It was a different concept when it first started, and people questioned, like, how are we going to be a godparent of something, of a place and not a person? And so I think that mentality has shifted, but that is what Parque Padrinos translates, park godparents.
And the program itself is responsible for a lot of what we see here, the renovation of Methow Park to start with.
Yeah, so the group originally formed with community members, neighbors who wanted to support the renovation of this park, supported in participating in the park design meetings, some fundraising, but the biggest part is for that commitment for long-term programming of the park, because these people were excited about the fact that we were able to work with so many different organizations, the city, the county, that all came together to support this. But we also wanted to see then what happened after the ribbon cutting, because we wanted to make sure that this place continued to be safe, accessible for the community for the years to come.
And the community access has continued to be part of the mission of Parque Padrinos. You've been very active on making sure access to the loop trail stays open. Been involved in the talks about Confluence Parkway being built and what kind of public pedestrian bike access will be available for community members there.
Yes, and that accessibility is really key, because this is again, this park is the backyard, front yard for a lot of these homes that are multi-family homes that don't have as much space as in other parts of town. So this is why, in particular, this park is just so important. And we're really grateful to have now past the ribbon cutting, have been able to have a facility use agreement in place with the city so that we can continue to provide programs like Zumba, folkloric dancing here at the park that continue to bring more people in.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. Hope your weekend was a good one. How about that weather? 83 degrees our high temperature both on Saturday and yesterday. Just couldn't have been better for the Technoplex Youth Parade for Apple Blossom on Saturday. Things are changing though as we get into the end of the week, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this is kind of what we dealt with for most of the day today, with clearing mid-afternoon. But this is up at the Lake Wenatchee area. Low-hanging clouds and pretty good rain here in the Wenatchee area between about noon and 1 o'clock today, but been sticking around a little bit longer in our higher elevations. And yes, our weather is changing as we get into the end of the week. I don't think it's going to happen early for us. It's more on Thursday afternoon and maybe again on Friday that we'll see the wet stuff. But we could see all of this: lightning, hail, and even possibly heavy rain. Hopefully it holds off before the weekend with all the apple blossom activities coming up. Didn't get that warm today either with all the clouds out there. 59 today after being 83 yesterday, 67. That's where we should be for this time of year. 87, our record set back in 1998. 52 warm degrees this morning, so we didn't warm up all that much throughout the day with that rain and clouds. 44 is normal, and 34 is our record low set in 1963. Last check, 5/100ths of an inch is all we picked up at the airport so far. Gets us to 2.70, and that's still 38 hundredths behind where we should be for this time of year. Sunrise 5:44, sun sets tonight at 8:12. And as we take a look at what we can expect as we get you into Tuesday, what a difference a day makes. We are jumping right back into the unseasonably, can we say, hot weather. Look at this: 85s Moses Lake and Ephrata, 86 in Quincy and Wenatchee. We'll see a smattering of 86s for Chelan, also up to Omak. So we are really going up in temperature once again tomorrow. We dropped 24 degrees today. We'll probably go up 25 degrees tomorrow. So some crazy spring weather right now, but get ready for that warm weather. And it's going to last too. We'll get to that in a second. Tonight we can expect clearing skies. There's the area of low pressure that did kind of swoop down from the northwest, and it brought those clouds and showers back at us. We'll see clearing tonight, as I mentioned. Low temperatures in those mid-50s, so that'll feel a little better than what we've seen. Boy, it was a warm one overnight Saturday. For Tuesday, sunny skies. Look at all of the clearing around the western United States, and you know what that color means: warm temperatures. And we're going to see highs, as I just mentioned, into the mid-80s on Tuesday. No change for Wednesday. It's going to be beautiful, mostly sunny skies and warm. We'll see highs once again on Wednesday in those mid-80s, maybe a touch cooler than Tuesday. For Thursday, not so bad for the most part. Partly cloudy with increasing clouds in the afternoon. And then look at this. Those are lightning strikes, and we could catch some of that thunderstorm activity late Thursday. High temperatures still warmer than normal on Thursday in the low 80s, and that's where a cold front moves through. Classy chassis day on Friday. It looks like showers will be likely. Cloudy conditions. It will be cooler too, with highs cooling down on Friday into the mid and upper 60s. And then getting you into the Apple Blossom Grand Parade on Saturday. Here's our next weather maker just off the BC coast. It's going to throw a lot of clouds our way Saturday, but I don't see a lot of rainfall during the parade time. It will be cool though, with high temperatures only in the low to mid 60s on Saturday. And then by Sunday, cloudy skies, not ruling out a scattered shower or two. I think most of that will move over in maybe the Spokane area, but we'll still have about a 20 to 30% chance of rain. Our high on Sunday in the mid 60s. Let's take a look now at that 7-day forecast. 54 overnight tonight, and here here's that warm weather once again. Sunny on Tuesday, mostly sunny Wednesday, mid-80s for highs. Remember, afternoon time, thunderstorms a possibility on Thursday and 82. And that's our wettest day. Coming up on Friday, about a 50% chance for rain, 67 the high. And then mostly cloudy both Saturday and Sunday. A good chance for showers again on Sunday with highs in the mid-60s. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
The Seattle Kraken advanced to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs with a 2-1 win in Game 7 over Colorado last night. Philip Grubauer had his best game in a Kraken uniform, and Oliver Bjorkstrand scored both of Seattle's goals in an incredibly intense game at Ball Arena last night.
Puck comes in front, it's deflection! The Kraken take a 1-0 lead. And now Bjorkstrand. McCarr cutting down the angle, shot, score! Bjorkstrand, 2-0 Seattle. Now McKinnon, left circle, back out for Taves. Half minute to go in the period. McKinnon scores! Here's Rantanen, back out, McKinnon scores! Right there, that's offside.
The play was offside, no goal.
Down to 10 seconds. There's Lehkonen, sends in deep, 5 seconds remaining. Nathan McKinnon, hit to the boards by Tanev, centering pass blocked off. The Kraken win Game 7. They knock off the defending Stanley Cup champs.
Coach Dave Hackstall says Grubauer really stepped up against his former team to help Seattle advance to the next round of the playoffs.
I mean, both teams played really hard. Our goaltender was the best player on the ice. We had a couple guys that stepped up and, made game-changing type plays. And we had, much like the entire season, we just had everybody doing their part. I mean, the battle level and the, how hard our group worked tonight was really indicative of the kind of season that we've had.
Grubauer faced a barrage of shots throughout the first period from Colorado and stood tall in the pipes to help Seattle advance to the next round.
Absolutely, it's huge, but we've shown it all year that we can play with the best, we can beat the best, and obviously going into this series, when you look at the regular season games, they were pretty tight and pretty even, so nobody on our side thought like they were going to sweep us in 4 games.
It means a lot to the franchise, but what does it mean to you?
Yeah, obviously, personally, I don't know what to say. It means a lot. We're ending their season and beating the defending Stanley Cup champions, so lots more to come for our group, but that's only Series 1.
Seattle's second round opponent will be the Dallas Stars, first of the best of 7 series tomorrow night in the Lone Star State. Starts at 6:30 on ESPN. Well, the Seahawks added a total of 10 players over the weekend in the 2023 NFL Draft. After Thursday's first round, where Seattle drafted cornerback Devin Witherspoon and wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba, the Seahawks added depth at running back, linebacker, safety, and on the offensive and defensive lines. In Friday's second round, Seattle took Auburn outside linebacker Derek Hall and UCLA running back Zach Charbonnet. The Hawks picked up a guard and defensive tackle in the 4th round, a defensive end and center in the 5th round, a safety in the 6th round, and running back in the 7th. Coach Pete Carroll says he feels this year's draft was a continuation of Seattle's incredible draft from 2022.
The opportunities that the guys are going to be faced with when they come here and they see their chances, it's going to feel like last year in some regards. So it's our job to do a good job to knit that together and make sure that happens, so we maintain the momentum and the movement. But we loved last year's class, and when we're fired up about this year's class, and it just feels like we've added on to it. And I think I'm really proud of what the work that all the guys did and where we are right now. And
the Seahawks will be working the next few weeks on bringing in the rookies in addition to undrafted free agents for camp. Well, the Mariners finished off a frustrating weekend on a high note Sunday, topping Toronto in 10 innings, 10-8. Cal Raleigh hit the second of his 2-run home runs in the top of the 10th to help Seattle salvage the final of the 3-game series after losing on Friday and Saturday.
Another one! It's a rocket to right field! Cal Raleigh with a bomb! 2-run go-ahead home run! Cal
continues to leave scorched earth behind him in Toronto. To center field, count it. Has a beat on it. He's right there. The Mariners win it. They come storming from behind, and they win today in 10 innings. A final. The Mariners 10 and the Blue Jays 8.
Seattle has the day off today before wrapping up the road trip with the first of 3 games in Oakland starting tomorrow night. Well, a recap of prep sports over the weekend begins on the baseball diamonds on Friday. West Valley swept Eastmont to Big 9 play, while Moses Lake took 2 from Wenatchee. And Fred atop Prosser, Quincy swept Omak, Brewster beat up Lake Roosevelt, Riverside Christian edged Pateris 1-0. Cascade forfeited both of its games against Chelan on Saturday. Riverside Christian blanked Pateris 1-0. Liberty Bell and Tenasket split their doubleheader, with the Mountain Lions taking the first game and the Tigers winning the second. Manson blanked Bridgeport in other action. Eastmont and Moses Lake remain unbeaten in Big 9 fast pitch softball as the Wildcats swept West Valley Friday, while the Mavericks took care of Wenatchee. Omak quieted Quincy, Cascade clipped Chelan, Lake Roosevelt rolled over Liberty Bell. Waterville Mansfield picked up 53 runs in its doubleheader sweep of Manson. Moses Lake split its twin bill with Mount Si Saturday, dropping the opener but winning the nightcap. Warden swept Okanagan. Tenasket took down Liberty Bell. Manson beat Bridgeport in the opener Saturday 29-10 before the Mustangs came back to win the nightcap. That's not a mistake there. 38-32 the final. Well, Wenatchee moved into first place in Big 9 boys soccer without even playing on Friday as Sunnyside topped Eastmont 2-1. That moves the Panthers into first place. Davis kept pace by downing Moses Lake 6-0. Another action Friday, Cascade blanked Omak while Tenasket topped Oroville. Hey, well, on Saturday, Warden blanked Omak 1-0. Cashmere doubled up LaSalle 4-2. Okanagan plastered Pateris. Brewster beat Liberty Bell, and Bridgeport blanked Manson 2-0. We'll be out at Lieboftel Field of the Apple Bowl tomorrow night to broadcast Wenatchee and Moses Lake. In boys soccer, Sebastian Moraga and Matt Weisen have the call with the pregame beginning at 6:50 on Facebook and on TV. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Happy Monday.
On the next edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, my guest will be this guy, Joel, who's putting on the first annual Apple Valley Record Expo.
Yeah, Saturday, May 13th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Free admission to the public. We'll have about 27 tables, vendors, selling mostly vinyl records, some 8-tracks, cassettes, some vintage clothing. Come on down, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And do some crate digging.
Yeah, if you're into music, into collecting records, I don't know anything about that, you might want to check it out. That's on the next edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at NCWLIFE.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@NCWLIFE.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us and have a great night.